Yes, all right. Okay, if you're not any questions, go ahead, Katat. What are you going to share with us, son? And I want to say again that I love you, appreciate you, and stay close spiritually, like you always do, regardless of where you're at in the world.
Yeah, I wanted to, I actually had a question that I wrote down a while ago, and it was about NDEs, near-death experiences, and
Okay, so
how
NBE, say? It was about
near-death
what are those called letters?
experiences.
What are those called letters again? NBE, did you say?
Near-death experiences, NDE. You hear me?
NDE,
NDE.
as in Nancy.
Near-death experiences.
Okay, near-death experience.
NDE.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
All right, son.
So I was curious about that because when I looked into it, I realized that people were seeing different things, but similar concepts. So some people would see the gates of heaven. Some people would see the house they grew up in. Some people would see dark, dismal places, and people would see different things. So it got me thinking about us creating our reality based on what's in our mind and whatnot. So I looked further into it, right? And then I came across a study, and it was a recent study that these scientists did, separate from the study that they did 100 years ago, where they found out about the 22 grams that leaves the human body at the time of death. So
Right.
100 years ago, they set it up where they basically had people that was like dying of tuberculosis or something. They put them on a bed that had sensitive scales on it, and at the time of passing, they found that about 22 grams, that the person got about 22 grams lighter. So
Right.
that was like 100 years ago, the McDougal experience, the McDougal experiment. So now, maybe last year or very recently, there was another study by a university or something, Louisville, I think, and what they found was when they hooked up brain monitors to comatose people, they found that when these people who were comatose had the plug pulled on them, not long after the plug was pulled, there was a spike in brain activity where there was none before. Okay, so they took comatose people, monitored their brain waves, and it was flat. Alright? And then,
Right.
after the plug was pulled and the person crossed over, as we say, there was a spike, a major spike in brain activity in centers of the brain that control perception of where you are and even fine details of your reality down to where you the way you think and your very consciousness. Different centers of the brain were activated after the plug was pulled on these people, after they passed over. So the person, based on the brain waves, the person would have been seeing sights and feeling. They would have had all their five senses based on the brain centers that were active during this time after death. So basically, I say that to say I had this question for a while, but confirmation came through in current reality in the form of this study. So it was just more confirmation that we really do create our reality, because after that, that is the ultimate reality at that point. When you cross over, that is the ultimate reality. So if there is a point where the brain activity spikes after death, and then it calms down afterwards. So it was about 10 minutes after death, they noticed this brain spike, and then it calmed down 15, 20 minutes on, and it was nothing. But at that time, there was obviously something going on in these people's minds. So it's just confirmation to me, because we get that question quite often, about life after death, right?
Exactly.
That question comes up every so often. So
it comes up quite often.
I just thought people. Yeah, I just wanted to get your input on that, because I thought that's something people might want to know, is that it's not just a whimsical fairy tale and uncertain anymore. We have data to prove that
scientific,
conscious
data to back it up, Yeah, well, you said it basically, but what it is that when people are in the throes of death, physically, you have to understand that the real you, the essence of you, the enigma, the real you, the deity, is immortal, never dies. And evidence of that is through sleep. When you have dreams, you still wake up. Because death, so-called death, and sleep are brothers and sisters. With the only distinction being with death, the cord is cut, and that aspect of your consciousness can't re-enter the flesh. So it's like a new birth, time back, like when the cord is cut in the womb for the baby. But when they say that your whole life flashes before you, it's because when you're spiritually free. And it also means the etheric aspect, the soul, and the spirit, the Ankh, Ba, and Ka. The real Trinity, when that's free from the flesh and a connection to the world, then you reconnect to all, in a sense. And so there'll be no time, space, depth, or height. So when they say your whole life flashes before you in an instant, it's because obviously it's time barred, because in order for you to have all those experiences that you call life, would take a lifetime, if you were thinking about time in a conventional sense. So what it does is reveal something else to us. Not only is there no death, but there's no time either. Everything's happening at the same place at the same time. It's vibrating on different frequencies. That's obviously a higher frequency. So that when your vitals are read, your pulse, heart rate, breathing, etc., and they say, well, he or she is gone, it just means not that it's over. Over just means above, of course. It just means that you've separated from this tiny frequency range that we call reality here on Earth, solid axis and time bound, which you obviously have reconnected or returned to your long home, the world of the first mind. You become one with all again, and what does all know? That's right. And it happens in an instant, because time is just a construct that was created to exist within all. All lives outside of time. So when you disconnect from this illusion, this tiny frequency range, you become one with all consciously again, and have access to all knowledge. What's relevant about your whole life flashing before you, even as far as your experiences here on Earth, is you have to realize that we were all sent here by our oversoul to experience certain realities to help groom our higher selves. Because of all of our past and future experiences, the culmination of all of them has made us the beings that we are today. And it's constantly trying to guide us upward. Just like the faster you vibrate, like ice, water, or steam, you start evolving toward ascension, you start raising up. And when you raise up in frequency, you expand in consciousness.
I have a question about that frequency that you was just talking about. I got a question about that. So when I just be sitting still and I be feeling my body like vibrating and shocking and like moving, but I'm just being still. Am I vibrating and frequency on some type of level or something like that? Because I noticed that about myself. Like, I've been, like, vibrating.
That's good.
And I've been vibrating and I'm sitting still, like, that was my question.
Your body is sitting still, but, you know, sometimes you can notice it, especially after you have a dream, when you wake up, or just before you go to sleep. You can feel yourself raising up in vibration, or during the course of one of these classes, or when you move in stars, or when you're coming into contact with higher realms. You, of course, are vibrating on a faster frequency, and sometimes you notice it, sometimes you don't, because you're so involved in experiencing the experience itself that you don't look. You look at these things with peripheral or just some side effect. That doesn't really reach your attention. But yes, we are on the path to ascension. We are raising up, like the human resonance is a way that in the physical realm they can record the reality that Gaia or Mother Earth is raising up in frequency. In the same way they can tap out into our attention again, that when people in the throes of death, they take a lot of them and put them on a highly sensitive scale connected to the bed, zero it out, an electron scale, and at the instant that they, what you call die, they find out that they lose several grams of weight. The scale registers that it's a weight loss. Because when they say she's gone now, Elvis actually leaves the body in the same way that when they used to, in the old time, give you surgery, they would give you ether for a gas to put you under, which this gas did raise up your vibrations, stimulate vibrations, and it raise you up. And when you raise up in frequency or vibration, like in a Schumann resonance, you raise above the slower vibrations of the body, of the physical form, and create a sort of a separation. But let me be clear, even when you have out-of-body experiences, and it seems you in another state or another country or what have you, in reality, the real Trinity or your spiritual aspect is merely slightly out of line from your flesh, just a little bit. And it creates the illusion of distance and time because it is an illusion, it's not real. The time is actually now. But I'm glad to hear that you keep vibrating at different intervals, because what it is with your body is if it vibrates fast enough, like glass, it can shatter. Like the commercial with Ella Fitzgerald, she hears a certain note and that glass shattered. So what it has to do is just vibrate in increments, off and on, raise up. In other words, you vibrate for a minute, and then you reach a certain point, and then you have to, it'll stop and let you adjust to that rate of vibration, right? And then again, when it knows it's time and you're ready to, it'll start vibrating again and raise you up higher, so that it's slowly raising you up to a level of consciousness that'll supersede the flesh and the physical world. And then you start beginning to experience a new heaven and a new earth, for the former things will have passed away. And as far as bodily, there'll be no more hunger, no more thirst, no more pain, no more sickness, no more death. Because like the past earth, it too will have passed away. And you'll be a new being, you'll emerge as a spiritual being. But yes, Katat, you gave a lot of information, and your question, you had more answers than questions involved in it, and I'm just glad that you gave that summation to us. And the only thing I would hope is that, like the sister, that anybody have any questions about what it is that you reveal, maybe they can ask them. You know what I mean? Because what I want to emphasize to you is that when people are seeing their whole life flash before them, is when you separate from the physical plane, you merge back into the oneness. And so your thoughts become one, and there's no more time, no more space. And you experience everything in the here and now. That's why your life flashes before you. And the purpose of it, of course, is for your soul to measure your growth. Did you achieve what it is that you were sent here to accomplish? All in order to polish that rough asphalt, that stone, in order to perfect your soul, so it can make the ascension. You follow me? Now, anybody else? Now, if you have another way that you want to approach the question, ask me a question in a different way, so that I can approach it from a different direction, or anybody else have a question in regards to that, because I think that the subject matter is fascinating, and it's one we really need to explore. So I'm waiting for the questions. Okay.
My question is, does that mean that there is an appointed time of death for each individual, and that wasn't there?
Wait a minute, is there a clinical form of death? What was the question again?
Is there an appointed time?
A what?
Can you hear me? Is there an appointed time for a person?
Yeah, according to your over, yes, your oversoul dictates when you come and when you leave, right?
So that was an accident, or that, that's my question. So they accidentally...
Okay, there are no accidents or coincidences. Everybody was here for a specific purpose. Some people were sent here to die in childbirth, in the womb. Other people were designated to have an airplane accident, or to die in a fire, or of natural causes, or in a freak accident to step off a step and break their neck. And these people are not really real. They're kind of like your not counterparts, your clones. You know what I mean? And they were sent here to remind you how fragile life can be, so that every day you don't waste any of your time, but you use it constructively and productively to try to reconnect yourself to the immortal aspect of your being before times get beyond repair. Right? Now again, I say to people, this is such a a vast subject matter that if you could try to tune in like you do with a radio station in the car when you're trying to get it clear, just toggle the switch back and forth, the switch be in my mind until you can get me to focus on exactly what it is you're trying to get out of me more specifically, and see if you can get us all to hone in on those direct answers that you really, really need and require.
So from what you
because
said,
what it is with a master, let me say this, what it is with a master, if they don't have to die to become one with all. Are you following me? And the reason why we had a video from the mirror in Atlanta, and the brother Matt Sim was asked about life after death, and he very wisely said, I can't answer that. Only the masters can answer that, in regards to life after death. And it's not a mystery. It's just that these are people that have been blessed and fortunate enough to raise up in conscious vibration, to expand their consciousness, to reconnect with all, in the same way that I close my eyes in the dark and connect with your minds in Texas or Virginia or London or Africa, and I move stars through your eyes because I'm obviously in tune or have reconnected with the universal, the one mind, the oneness, right? Now, what happens is that what Katat was talking about in so-called death is that you all will shake free of this illusion, this tiny frequency range, and instantly you become back in tune with the oneness again, just like a spiritual master, an avatar, or illusion janitor does almost at will. Are you following what I mean? Without physical death.
sure.
Go ahead. Just turn it.
So so these individuals, and like Kat, I've, listened or watched several of these, and they talk about different surroundings or environments of what they saw, and he said his thought is that it had to have been what they were thinking about, I guess, at the time, or what they were focusing on at that time, to make it either a beautiful experience or one full of, doom and gloom.
Well, I'll say this, let me say this, because remember, these people were in a coma. So it wasn't what was on their mind at the time of death. Like, I guess it was what was on their heart. You see, because they were in coma. So not necessarily what was on their mind at the time of death, but just what was on their heart, what was in their memory. To them.
So thanks for clarifying that. Okay, so these individuals were in a coma. On YouTube, I watched several accounts of people that were in tragic accidents or whatever, and they went to heaven, so to speak. You know, they were out of their bodies, and they were told that it was not their time, that they had to go back. So that's what I'm saying. So does that point to the fact that there's an appointed time, or there was something more for that particular individual to accomplish on this plane?
Yes, it meant with that, what you call in time is non-existent. But the point of what you call separation or death is dictated by your oversoul that brings you here at a certain, let's say, time, because we're dealing with this world right here, matrix.
Okay.
And also, you know, the designated time to leave according to your own personal oversoul.
Yeah.
And when you achieve or pass the test or accumulate the information or the experiences required to fulfill those requirements, then it's naturally time for you to leave. But also, it'll be premature separation of death for those that it's obvious they won't reach the level of consciousness that fulfill the requirements for them to experience and learn the lessons they were sent here to learn. And for those people, they get trapped on the karmic wheel and keep going around and around, you know what I mean? And they don't get out of this morass. And that could go on literally forever. Because the things you look at will never change until you change the way that you look at things. You see, some people can get sedentary in an old mindset and get stuck like a glitch in a record, bump, 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 and they get trapped in lower realms and they just can't ascend. That's very unfortunate. That is a description of what you describe as a hell. You see. But I like what you all are exploring right now. But just, you got a crack in the door, just kick it open. Walk on through.
Okay, well, you said that there are no accidents, there are no, you know, everything is planned, like an, something
that's cause and effect, yes.
Or something, yes.
That's cause and effect here,
so,
here.
On this side, in this illusion.
Yeah, because from the Most High's perspective, his, listen to me good, his is the causeless cause. He does it cause he wants to, or she does it cause they want to. And there is no effect.
Okay.
Related to the cause. You follow me?
So, I guess I'm saying, what is the purpose, if there is one, that they are coming back?
Oh, there's one. The purpose is evolution. The purpose is evolution, for you to evolve.
Okay, okay.
And merge back into the oneness.
Okay. Because they describe how beautiful it is and everything, and that they don't want to go back, they don't want to leave, and they're told...
Exactly, I know they don't, but exactly. But if your oversoul determines that you still have things to learn to fulfill your requirements for your list of experiences that you were given in order to fully comprehend whatever it is you were sent here to learn, then it'll send you back. Now, what you made reference to is in a tragic, traumatic accident, they can be sent back as long as the body itself physically is not beyond repair. So, like in the case of ether, they give them that gas to raise them up spiritually in a high vibration to separate from the flesh, or raise it above, and then your spirit, just like steam in a hot pot, it raises up over your body. And they say floating along the ceiling. They can see themselves on the bed, the doctors around here, everything that's going on in the room. But if the doctors can repair the physical body, then the Trinity will ascend back down the etheric tube and reoccupy that flesh again for you to finish your journey. And even the accident or traumatic event in itself, that was also part of the experiences that were designed for you to go through to initiate growth in you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Okay, so correct me. So at any point, say for instance that the body was not, it couldn't be reconstructed or put back together. So they have to go back to being a baby and being, all of that and go back through that process, or are they ever to a body like someone? Would that be like a walk-in to finish their?
Well, no. You would have what you're talking about. That's a different subject. But as far as a baby, you mean if they fail to learn what it is they were sent here to learn, if they don't make the ascension, they'll what you call reincarnate, but not in the same carnal body. But they'll take on a fleshly form in the spirit. But remember that when you fail the test, you always come back as a lower creation, right?
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
You always come back as a lower creation.
Lower.
You might be blind and crippled or something that, so if you resent the test and you feel like you're being imposed on, or you upset with the Creator about it, and your lips stuck out like an inner tube, I wouldn't do that. Remember, He is the Creator. He is the Creator.
Right.
And it can always be worse.
Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness.
And that in itself will also be a lesson, right?
Yes.
Because really from that point, if you were born blind and crippled, you'd be wishing that you were back in the form you are right now, where you were complaining terribly about you didn't have no shoes and didn't realize there were people around you that didn't have feet.
Right.
Yeah. That's right.
Well, I think it is better now that we all focus on making the journey within and reconnecting with the Most High. That's the only rational direction and the only thing worthy. That's the only noble direct. That's the only thing we can think about that makes any sense, has any value. You can't take anything else with you. That's the only thing that has any value. Any substance, that's the only thing that has substance. The only reasonable thing you can do is to reconnect with the Most High and regain your real value, such as immortality and the ability to create your own reality, etc. You know what I mean? Those are the true gifts that can never be cut off. That is a deity or God in truth, right? Not an imitation God like Donald Trump is trying to get people to believe in. Because as you can see, he's deteriorating, getting older every time you see him. Just like many of those actors that you saw in a movie, a month ago, and they were looking young and vibrant, and then you looked at them last night, and they obviously aged 10 or 20 years. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen to their fame and fortune? Their millions.
Right.
What will be the value of it the next time you see them? And like O.J. Simpson, you find out they just died. And he had millions and millions of dollars. But at that instant, like the Pat said, when the separation comes and their life passes before them, then they'll be able to have a complete clarity of mind and a review over all the things they experienced and all the things they did in order to achieve worldly gain. And see, the ultimate outcome of it was fruitless. It was nothing. It wasn't worth the weight of a wafer. It wasn't worth 3 dead flies. It what they thought was winning was in fact losing. They were majors and minors their whole life. But blinded by the light, they didn't know it. Or they thought they were going to be forever young or something. I don't know, they're not in touch with reality. They've lost their minds. And they're wandering aimlessly on the Las Vegas state of mind. Their dream is turning slowly into a nightmare. Just like people that dream all their life of acquiring wealth and fame, and the few people, for whatever reason, are going into that are allowed to be privileged enough to be in a position to become millionaires and billionaires and et cetera, and famous, world-known, renowned, et cetera. You need to look at the whole thing, overview of it, and see why there's such a high rate of suicide among those people in that echelon. It's because of self-realization. They anticipated or expected that as soon as they acquire a certain amount of money and status, power, illusion, it's all illusion. They thought if they got there, they arrived, that would be tantamount to heaven. But they found out it was just an illusion. It was like trying to collect mercury in your hand. It was slipping right through their fingers. Just like time that was constantly taken away, and their physical form was deteriorating, getting grayer and older with every day that passed. They realized that with every second since their birth, they were getting further from birth and closer to death all the time. When they were supposed to be getting closer and closer to the source all the time. But they were deceived. They were deceived by the evil one. You follow me? And they was selling sugar. They was trading sugar for shit. They gave away real things for smoke and mirrors. And the only reality all the time was divine love and to reconnect with the Creator. That was the only reality, and that's the goal that everybody's oversoul is trying to guide them to. But unfortunately, everybody won't be strong or wise enough to make that uphill climb. And they will be, unfortunately, left behind. We're crossing over that desert right now. Not everybody will get there with us. Everybody won't make it. And that's unfortunate. But I'll tell you, it's not cabal or fate that will determine that for you. It's self-determination. You are your own God, and you're making your own decisions. And like I told you before, heaven and hell are just good or bad decisions. And if you trap yourself in the mud of your own flesh, and you lock onto a certain train of thought, and you refuse to bend or bow, think about a tree in a hurricane that won't bend. You follow? It'll bow. Because everything in creation knows to bow. Everything in creation knows to bow to the Creator's will. Unlike the fallen angels, they refuse to bow. But when you walk in the streets in the daytime, you see the shadow, your shadow on the ground. That's a part of essence of your own being paying obeisance or bowing down in reference to the Creator. Or the trees in the wind, when it blows, see how they swing back and forth? They're prostrating to the Most High. You follow me? Or the stars, Kokab, or the sun. They go down every night in prostration. And because of that obedience, they resurrect every morning. Again, you see. And so is it with man or woman, with humanity.
All that.
Rahubat, you too can physically go down to spiritually ascend again, over and over again. But it should be a higher and higher vibratory existence. But the fear is that those of you that are asleep in this, so shall you be in the next. Like I said, you're not going to make the separation and get some kind of an epiphany and, oh shit, I figured it all out now. Yeah, I was a day late and $1 short. You know, it's just like in your school, when you were in school, if you failed a grade, what did you have to do? You had to repeat, right? That's right.
Right.
Until, you know, you got a lot of very ancient beings here, like a 15-year-old and like a 18-year-old in 6th grade, and they too big to sit under the desk and everybody looks at them because they stand out like the dunce of the big giant in the class near adulthood, and they still goofing off and they won't take it serious. Until eventually one day they gotta tell them, say, look, don't come back no more. And that person flumps out, literally unfit for the requirements of life. Just unfit. They fall through the cracks. They get totally left behind. And they never ascend into university, let alone universal knowledge. You follow? Now I know that's not directly what I was asked, but it's coming through me. Next question. Anybody else have another question before I start the reading?
Yes, can I just, hello.
Go ahead.
Can I just ask, what do you mean when you said, there'll be no death or hunger, for the former things will pass away? Hello?
Okay.
There'll be no death or hunger, for the former things will pass away. Do you mean in a material sense that you won't want anything, or is it more like an ascension?
You won't need it. Okay, let me explain.
Is it? Huh?
I think that's a very good question.
You'll be in a different realm, or would it be more because you're ascended? Or
what it means is the former things will have passed away. Is that while you're here on this earth sojourn, and you experiencing this earth, this new paradigm, and a lower vibration, that if you do pass the test, and like those of you that are here with me now walking, it seems that one of your motivations could be because you're serious about making the ascension. And blessed is that soul. But you know that you were a spiritual entity that spiraled down and took on clothes of flesh and became a very sluggish entity, right? You fell from the spiritual plane, a fallen angel. But your oversoul is prompting you to wake up and reconnect with the reality of who and what you are, and to indeed ascend again. And I was just a servant that was sent here to help light your way back on the path, to stimulate your memory, and to help you to reconnect with the reality before times get beyond repair, before you experience what you all refer to as death, etc. But when you raise up in a spiritual realm, a spiritual vibration with expanded consciousness, and start turning yourself inside out, sister, and your perspective of who and what you are, like when you're in the kitchen undecided about what to eat, until you start talking to yourself, I have a taste for pig food, but your higher self say you need salad. And your child hears you talking to yourself, and the kitchen say, Mom, who are you talking to in there? And you laugh and say, well, you caught me, I'm in here talking to myself. That's your higher self talking to the lower shaping, the clay, the lower aspect of you. Now what happens is that through these spiritual practices, these classes, or through deep meditation, visualization, spiritual exercises like healing exercises and going out and moving stars with your mind, etc., that you start reconnecting with your higher self, because you know that your arms are not long enough to move the stars. So whatever aspect of your being is moving them is the spiritual aspect. when you start realizing, like Katan said, that it's not just a happenstance, that that's really real, that really is real, and you have that potential, unlimited potential in you as a deity, and you really get solid in your thoughts that I'm God. Well then, logically that means that God never dies. That's one of the prerequisites of being God is immortality. But even more clear, to throw some light in blind corners, is that when you become a spiritual being, and you don't have to die to achieve that, you can make that ascension in this world right now, and you know that because of the way you and I move those stars. Because physical men and women can't do that, sister, you know that. So whatever principle inside of you that was at work right then, it was some deity, or something much higher than anything in this physical world. So when you turn yourself completely inside out, or when you say, I'm, and you're talking to myself, but you're still thinking yourself as the myself and not the I. You think of the I as some vague peripheral ghost stational aspect of yourself. That's some voice from out of who knows where. There's just something, like when something goes wrong, but you were warned, pre-warned about it, and then you said, something told me not to do that. Well, that something is the I principle, the oneness. Make that I whole again. That's the Most High. The one mind. The oneness. When you reconnect, get that to the point that you realize that you are the I, and you're not the myself. And your major principle is not the two eyes on your face, the nose that smells, the ear that hears, or the mouth that tastes, or the skin that can feel. Because that is the organism, the physical organism that connects you to the physical realm to create the illusion, the strong illusion that this is reality. But at the same time, it separates you from the real ultimate reality of who and what you really are. When you turn yourself inside out in your perspective of who and what you are, that you're really a spiritual being having a physical experience, then it'll be like Jesus in the wilderness, when he's tested by the devil, beautiful women and riches, etc., that he passed all those tests, because he realized the spirit has no need of those things. And in addition to that, without dying, he can walk out onto the Sea of Galilee and defy gravity by walking on water. That's amazing. Except when you realize that his beloved disciple, Simon Peter, also jumped out the boat and walked on the water toward him until he began to doubt. So, when you realize that you're able to gather a divine incarnated in flesh, then you move spiritward in vibration, and you're not really affected by the physical world. You're not restricted by walls or hunger. Because, let me ask you, sister, when does your spirit get thirsty or hungry? Or cold?
Never.
It never does.
Never.
When does your spiritual essence get old, sister?
Never.
That's right. And when does your spiritual essence die? Or your consciousness die?
Never.
Then when you achieve that level of awareness, then you'll be in the new heaven and the new earth. For the former things will have passed away, because there'll be no more cold for you, no more hunger, no more thirst, no more crying, no more pain, no more sickness, and no more death. For you, the former things will have passed away. You've made your ascension. But you look at it in many ways, you know that the essence of God is in your solar plexus, as a non-thing ball of light about the size of your fist. First 5 feet, skin about 3 feet outside, the former son of an atmosphere or highly. But every night when your physical brain shuts down, and your physical body for sleep, because they require sleep and food and what have you, The spirit never slumbers. You know it never sleeps. That's why you remain active in the form of dreams or astral flight while your physical body is shut down. Well, that spiritual aspect of you, sister, it travels, that spiritual aspect of you travels up your spinal column, the light corridor of your spine.
The higher self talking to the lower self. Can it be the higher self talking to the higher self? Or is there ever...
Yes, that happens both ways, because you can argue with God. When you have a girlfriend and y'all been friends since elementary school, but when a man is flirting with you and you seem to be attracted to him, I like his hair, his eyes, or his smile, this, that, and the other. But your higher self will tell you, you know that's wrong. For many reasons, on many levels, that's wrong. You may destroy a friendship that's more valuable than whatever few minutes of whatever gratification you think you get, and then you destroy their relationship, or you contribute to it, because if he's thinking that way, it's already destroyed. But you involve yourself when you sink to that level, and then you regret. You follow what I mean? Something told me not to do that, right? I knew I should have followed my what? My first mind. We have to learn to return to the world of the first mind, sister.
The first mind.
That's right. Because you have to remember about your single eye, or the all-seeing eye. That single eye has a much more powerful muscle matrix than your two physical eyes. It's much more powerful because it can see through walls and time. It can see the past and the future. And it can see things that you don't remember in your experience. You follow? So think about the whole being. Your inner hearing, for example. You know you can be in your house cleaning up, and nobody's there but you because your family is out of town. But you hear one of your loved ones call your name, and real quickly you say, yeah, you answer. And then you get embarrassed because you realize you're in the house by yourself. And maybe the phone will ring, and you pick it up, and it's dim. You know, I just heard you call my name, yeah, I was thinking about you, right? The same way, you're sitting around the kitchen table with your friends, and y'all start talking about this man or woman that's got a certain attitude of this, that, and the other. You keep talking about them, and then you hear somebody knock at the door, and you go to the door, and guess who it is? And you say, we just talked you up. You follow what I'm saying? That's your higher principles, the higher authority. That's God inside of you, inside the temple. And people keep going to church buildings and temples down the street and up the corner, out there. But the temple is really the place on the side of your head next to your ears. And your eyes are windows to the soul. Because when you purify your consciousness with purified positive thoughts, then God, which is a light being that circles you, or all of us all the time, just waiting for a shift, a color change in your spectrum, to shift from amber and red to light blue and violet, green even, to return to the angelic being. Then that light, just like a demon possession, will circle around your crown molar until the color shift is right. Then it will drop down into your head and occupy that seat with the 12 cranial nerves, and it will sit at the head of the table, and God will be back on his throne. And God never dies. God never gets hungry. God doesn't eat. God is. And all of you are gods in the center of your own creation. And all things are perpetually equal distance from you. In other words, you may think that the corner store is closer to you than I am, but it's not. A physical example of that, if you take a big white beach ball, sister, and you take a black marker and put a dot on it, wherever you put it, wouldn't that be the center of the ball? Yes or no?
Yes.
It would be the center of the ball, sister. You still with me? In London. Are you still here, sister?
Yes, I'm still here.
So
What was the question?
If you take a big white beach ball and take a black marker and put one dot on that ball anywhere, wherever you put that black dot, wouldn't that be the center of the ball? The navel, the center of it?
You're very faint.
I know, I have trouble hearing you too. Could somebody make you understand what I just said?
The audio is not very loud, I'm hearing.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear you a bit better.
All right.
Okay?
If you had a big white beach ball, a big round white beach ball, and I give you a black marker, and you put a black dot on that white beach ball, isn't it true that regardless of where I put that black dot, that would be the center of that sphere or of that ball, the navel of that ball? Would that be the center wherever that black dot is?
Yes, there would be.
Yes, it would. And you might think, then how are we all going to have to be the center of our own creation and we're in different places? Well, if you put another black dot on the ball somewhere else, would that also be the center of creation from the perspective of that dot?
Yes. Yeah, of course.
Right,
yes.
So no matter how many people or dots you put on that sphere, they will still mark wherever they are, that would mark the center of creation. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
You are the center. Al-Qut, the ab, the heart, the navel, you are the center. But when people get out of line, they're no longer the center. Therefore, no longer God.
It's true.
And you measure that by doing the things that a God does, not by reckless cries of I'm deity, I'm God, I'm great. You know, like an empty devil that has a big ego, and they feel great, they feel bloviated, and they're this, that, and the other. But if they don't live like a God and think like a God, they'll never be a deity. Just a wannabe clown. Right?
We need to learn to listen, acknowledge, and do.
I love you. That's right. Because knowledge is power, and with the acquisition of knowledge, it's the primary tool into transforming into deity. But if you think like an arrogant devil that you already know, there's no room to learn, no room for growth. So, you get left behind. Dreaming of your magnificence. Imagining yourself great. Like Rahubat, like a lot of people thought they were great until they came here and walked with us and started moving stars. But they thought they was gods before they did anything that gods really do. Rahubat. Next question.
What about this Kim Kim?
Okay,
I'm at work right now.
Yes, how are you, Kim Kim? I'm glad to hear your tone.
Yeah, good.
Go ahead, sister. Is there something else you want to know?
Yeah, I want to know. Dang, I forgot my question.
That's all right. It's in your mind. So just think about what you were thinking about when the question popped in your head, and it'll come back to you like retracing your steps to your car keys. Think of the last place you had them, and you know what I mean. You follow what I'm saying? Your mind is a tool. Learn how to use it skillfully. It'll never let you down.
Okay.
Right.
I have a question in the meantime if she's thinking about hers.
Very good.
in last class you were reading. You give us a reading about where you talked as well about children and how, like, the government and whatnot,
Yes.
the establishment are taking away children from families, etc.
Right.
I had a question. Something popped into my head about golden children. What is the purpose of golden children?
Okay. You have two basic groups of children. Of course, everything in between. But you also have fire children. Those are the children of the fallen angels, the fire children, rebellious children that refuse to bow to reality. But the golden children are very unique, and that another name for them would be star seed or star children. Many of you all have got a post from me today, and the bottom link is Ancient Aliens, Star Children. I suggest you look at it. Yeah, Star Children. Okay, you will get it. Because I'll send it out probably tomorrow or the next day again to everybody, because I just had some accomplishments in that area. But my point is this. I had a video that I sent to a lot of people about two little white girls talking in a higher dimension. And one of them had experienced coming to Earth and taking a human form. And they thought it was really funny how limited people are here on Earth in their perspective of reality. You follow me? You know, so what happens is star children are children from other planets, other galaxies, other dimensions, and other times. It can be from your past to your future, from your perspective. And they've chosen to join a very elite group of very sophisticated and evolved beings that volunteer to come to Earth in order to enlighten people and help them raise up in vibration and break the spell to save a lost world. Are you following me?
Yeah.
And that's what we're working here to do right now, is to raise 144,000, because what it is many of you all are star seeds, and you don't realize it. But what we're doing right now is working tirelessly to get you to snap out of this illusion and wake up to the reality of who you are and what your purpose and mission is. Are you following me? It's just like Panda Baby Anun and myself. We came here as light beings in 1970. And the Italian astronomers logged us as comets. And at that point, he said his light shone the brightest. So they called him Bennett. But Ben is the way you say sun in Arabic or Hebrew. And Bennett is plural for the children, because there were 29 of us that year at the opening. But in regards to he and I, we did plant ourselves inside of reddish brown-skinned baby boys, infants in the hospital. And we went inside of the cell, inside of these two baby boys, like dormant entities, and were programmed like an alarm to go off or wake up at a certain point in time, knowing that every flower blooms in its own season. And, you know, with enough sunlight and water and proper conditions, we sprouted and started growing from the inside out into who and what we were here for, and to complete our mission, which is the same mission that many of you have. As the 144,000, many of you are star seeds, golden children, violet children, many names for you, that have volunteered for this project and went into tiny little baby boys and girls and placed yourself dormant inside of a little cell. And now it's time for your awakening, for you to expand their consciousness and bloom and take your rightful place and completing your mission successfully, which is to raise up to 144,000, thereby tilting the balance with the fire children and saving a dark, lost, sick world. You hear me? And myself personally, what I do, a lot of people think I do it for shits and giggles, having people moving stars, for example. It's just one of the ways that I test people to see if they are indeed, even potentially, starseed. I quite obviously challenge them to move stars with me. Now, I don't know if you agree with it, but I think in my mind that when they can do that, that's prerequisite to identifying them as starseed, at least potentially. And so I throw my focus on them a lot more. But there are those, like Marquita Love, that told you all on the phone, I asked her, ever since I met you, what have I been trying to do? She said, you've been doing everything you could to help me. And I asked her, what have you been doing? She said, I've been doing all that time, I've been doing everything I could to destroy you. That's a fire child.
Right. Okay. So it's just
and they're destined for hell. And they're destined for hell. They're earning hell. It's not free. You know how expensive and how hard a cracker head has to work, or heroin addict? Well, our set station a break 24/7 to feed their devil. But I don't know why people here on earth think that heaven is free and you don't have to work for that. It's a silly, silly thought. The devil is a liar. You have to commit to this mission and work for it to achieve your goal. 24/7. And it's a part-time gig for you. Like a Christian, you only want to be occupied with it only on Sunday, and then you go back into the land of the lost. You're not going to make it. Because this devil is twisting your mind and lying to you. They don't take a break. They work 24/7, even in your dreams. They have satellites that transmit different negative information and thoughts and impulses into your mind. Like I said, if you have neighbors on your left and right, and they're arguing on cell phones, I'll kill you, bitch. They can go to hell, this, that, and the other. Do you think those audio waves go around you? They come through your walls. You know that because you're talking to me now on the phone. Through the walls, even if you're on a cell phone without wires. You're not connected to landlines. So those waves go through the walls. You see that? But now, if you have neighbors on the left and right, and there's a lot of enmity or hatred between them, all that animosity and stuff is not going around you, it's going right through you. And if you think it's not affecting you, think again. So you have to learn how to create a psychic self-defense against all this negativity. By realizing that you're no longer in heaven right now for whatever the reason. Whether you're a fire child or a volunteer, you're still here. And like Father Banu frequently said, even us angelic beings, if we stay here too long, we can get trapped. You follow me? Because there's a gravitational pull to this world, to this negativity, to the underworld. They have made think your desires, your ego, and all these things, they can trap you. You follow me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why you're supposed to be in the world system, but not what?
Not
of the world. Come out of it, my people. So you be not partakers of her sins. Come out of her. It's time to come out of her. And it's not about me trying to get you all to take something from you. I'm not trying to just take the world. I'm trying to get you to wake up and replace this world with heaven. with the higher realms, the higher kingdoms from which you have fallen. And many of you all are noble volunteers that are here to do everything in your power to help us wake up all your brothers and sisters. So are you putting the posts all around the world every day? And don't say, well, I didn't get a post from you. Because if these devils can stop me from sending out posts physically, how does that stop you from sending out posts? You are creators. You ought to take the past posts that you got and put together the things, the links and classes that you were most interested in, and the testimonies that people write, and put together a post yourself.
I just live by example and just let them watch me. I don't make no post or nothing like that, but
you need that. You have to make, but you have to make the post, because what happens is this: regardless of the size of the class, whether you have 50 people here or 4 people in class, if you don't propagate the truth like the disciples intended to do, then that means no matter how profound the level of knowledge that comes through me, for example, is to the group, you think it's wise for it to keep circulating around in the minds of 3 people? Because how is that going to raise to 144,000 if you don't contact, drop your nest, and become fishers of men? Boom, 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 boom. Right? And the fire children are always there trying to block and prevent. You follow? Their arms are always at your destruction. And they use all of their faculties, all their knowledge and what have you, to try to design traps to try to cut you off or block you from the truth, to try to block their senses and block the light. Because they know the truth is the light. They imagine it hurts them. So you know what happens to the vampires when the light hits them? It burns! It burns! They despise divine love and truth, you see? Because it makes them aware of what type of a nasty creature they really are. You follow?
Yeah. So
read the Holy Tablets. Go ahead.
Can you tell me, do the Christ children volunteer as well, or have they just incarnate as part of to do their own job or what they want to do, or they been sent by their Lord, Overlord, or what?
Yes, okay, but that felt a little bit to my higher senses like another kind of a being thinking, okay, you mean do their own thing, like their own deity, self-involved, and they want to be powerful within themselves and create their own reality, you know. Yes, they can do that. They can do that. But let me put the question to you. Don't you think it would be much more noble for brothers and sisters in other worlds and other planets and times that have achieved a new heaven and a new earth, and they've outgrown and evolved over death and hunger and all these things, that for them to look back at the brothers and sisters they left behind, or the fallen ones, and have compassion on them, lower a wing of mercy, and spiral back down and incarnate into hell, and do everything in their power to help them ascend up out of that fear and confusion and lies and pain. Would that be really a godly thing to do? When you take phonetically the word God, if you add one O to it, is good, or a D to the word evil. On understand that when you lead people to heaven, who gets there first?
You do.
You do. I do.
Exactly. When they get to work leading them to heaven. And you're not going to do it without, you're not going to lead people to heaven without posting up and putting these links out in the class times and showing them how to get to where you got, because somebody had to do it for you. Somebody put some links out there, even if it was me. You became aware of it some kind of way. So you be the lighthouse for them to lead them safely into shore 2, into harbor. Harbor's another word for heaven. Safe harbor. Far too many out there in rudderless ships wandering aimlessly on in their contumacy. It won't be long for dawn. Big trees falling. Won't be long for dawn.
And did you get my
Because they're
email?
blind, but they think they see. Go ahead.
So just asking Anne if she got my email now.
Okay. Who was on this? Did you get her email? Did you get Cheryl's email, sister?
Let me check and see. You got
Thank
an
you.
email, Sarah?
You did? That's very good, because you'll find her phone numbers on there. And you should return her email to her with your personal information, phone number, etc. on there too. Because there'd be nothing more positive than for you all to open up the line of communication for the good fight in a positive way. Because there are creatures that want to get everybody's information so they can call them up and poison their minds, block the light, and cut them off, slander and all these negative things. And they spend their time figuring out ways to block the mission and cut off the light. Very clever ways. The devil's very devious and trying to be clever. To figure out clever ways to mislead, misdirect, block. In other words, lead people to hell when they don't have enough sense to realize that they'll be the first ones to get there. They're so busy being smart about how they're leading people to hell, they don't realize that they're leading them. Isn't that the cruelest joke? Yes, it is. A well-deserved hell, I might add. Yeah, quicksand is their carpet over hell, because they have a seat reserved for them in one of those deep, hot, dark hells. They have a seat reserved for them, a special seat for the evil ones that conspire. They get on phones and they communicate with one another, and they have firm facts and firm resolution. They make up plans about what they can do to try to mislead block the mission. What a terrible reason for existing. What a horrible reason to wake up. Oh, how sad. Their only purpose is and how to stunt humanity. How to destroy people. They want to kill everybody, destroy the world. My question is then what? They're too stupid to get past that, you see. I'm saying that if all of us are on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and the devil on the boat with us, and they wake up in the middle of the night while everybody's sleeping, they put a hole in the bottom of the boat, and when the water hits your feet, everybody gets scared because they know they're drowning, and the devil is laughing until they get a mouthful of salt water. They don't really realize what they did.
They on the boat too.
Now you got it. Now you got it. Now you got it. That's it. That's right.
Right.
The devil's a dumb mother. You see what I'm trying to say? But they think they're real smart. You follow? They got all these diabolical plans and all this kind of undercover shit on how they gonna mess up the mission of light. And they don't even know where the devil come from, where that thought come from. They think it's their thoughts. When they know that, well, maybe they don't, that at the core and essence of every creature is the Most High, and his primary attribute is divine love. So they are heavenly creatures, and that's from where they fell from heaven. They got cast out of heaven. These are heavenly beings, heavenly angels, and they're acting completely contrary to their true nature. But they know not. They know not.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may.
Teachers like, former teachers like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, those sort of, were they sent? Were they part of the 29 that came down? Or was that a different era?
I heard Martin Luther King. Now, what was the other thing you said?
Malcolm X.
And Malcolm X.
Right.
Okay.
Were they part of the 29 that came down?
What was that? What is what?
Part of the 29 that came down.
No, I don't think so. Maybe Martin Luther King. And I'll tell you why. Hold on.
What part of the 29? What part of the 29? What's 29?
Because from experience, I was in another realm one day, or one night, and I was inside of a house, and I looked like the living room, and there was a very, very bright light in the ceiling. As is the case in the spiritual realm, they usually have a bright light somewhere, very bright. And Malachi was in there, and he was walking up and down the floor under that bright light, and he was really madder than I've ever seen him before. He was openly displaying a great deal of anger. He was grumbling so bad, I was afraid he was going to cut his own tongue off with his teeth. Get your phone. Star 6 your phone. You want to block reality? So he was arguing a lot, real mad. And I couldn't understand what he was so mad about. Then in the lobby, Reverend Alexander Smith knocked on the door, and I let him in. And he walked in, and he had a box under his arm, big, wide, fat box. It was a little boy's bicycle, a child's bicycle, in a box that had to be put together. It was a child's bike. And I found out that Malachi was directing all his anger at Reverend Smith. And Reverend Smith felt small, and he went to the wall behind me, and he slid down the wall and was sitting on his butt with the bicycle box standing next to him. And I felt sorry for him, so I went and sit on the floor next to him. And I was telling the brother, it's going to be all right. Don't worry, but it's going to be all right. And next thing, Brother Smith got up and walked out the door in the dark and down the stairs. And I heard a lot of animals or bee sounds. But anyway, I walked out there in the dark and fog with him. because I was worried about the brother. And it was so dark out there. And he started disappearing deeper into the darkness. And I saw a lot of red lights that were like eyes. And I heard a lot of animal sounds and him hollering, and I knew what that was. So I came back inside the house, and Malachi was gone out the room. So I went to the doorway by the hall, because I saw another light on the other side of the hall in another room. When I got to the hallway, I looked to the left down the hall, and I saw a very bright, warm, soothing light. It was shaped kind of like a man, and the light got closer to me. And he said, Brother Ahmed, I love you, brother, and I miss you. And I said, I love you too, brother, and I miss you. And I knew it was Martin Luther King. That's for real, it was Martin Luther King. He's a saint, at the very least. And after we hugged and confessed our love for one another spiritually, I walked across the hall into another bright room, and they had kind of like an old Roman type couch, a Greek couch or something, and I sit on that. And when I looked up, the 24 elders appeared in front of me in a line dressed in white. All of them, including Malachi, they were all standing in front of me. And it was a bright, bright light, and the field was again real bright. And they kept encouraging me, they kept saying, lay back, lay down, just lay back. And so I would start laying back, like I would lay down. And then I popped back up, and because I was confused. I asked him, I said, what are we doing here? What am I doing? I'm not saying no, because what lay down and what? Die or what's going on? Lay back. I just want to know. I'm not saying no. I just want to know what we're doing. And boy, they was getting mad, especially Malachi. But I guess I failed that test because I didn't want to lay all the way down without knowing what it was we were doing. I didn't want to commit. But I knew those brothers, and I know my memory. I know that to be the 24 elders. Pedro Campos and all of them, they were there. But my point is that I met Martin Luther King personally in that room. And it's quite possible that he was one of the 29. I'll tell you who is one of the 29 for sure. It's a brother named Moses. And he's back. He's back in the world. And he's also one of the two witnesses. And he's walking with me, Ahmed. He is walking with me. And I don't really fully consciously know who he is, or if he knows who I am, but I know what we both know, and we have a job to do, and we're doing it. And it's just the beginning of the walk. It's going to get clearer, and we're going to become more energized and much more enthusiastic about it. But
okay,
Moses is back. I don't even know if he's a man or a woman, but he's back. That spirit of Moses is back. Look, it's time to move these stars, family, and I didn't get a chance to give y'all what I really came to give, but it's all right. It's all right. Because I hope I gave you what you wanted. All right.
Someone needs to make this phone in the background. When it isn't water, then it's a lot of fiddling. Read this phone in the background.
Time to move stars, family. Let's go outside and do the things that God can do.
Okay, I can see a star.
Wait a minute.
No, I'm gonna go outside for a little while. You wanna go outside? It's cold outside.
Now, to the sister that says, I don't post, you have to realize there's a lot of information coming through this mission, and it's your responsibility, as much as it is ours, to get it to the whole world. So I hope you understand that if you are a star child, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Exactly. And supporting this mission in every way you can. Desperately, like a crackhead or a heroin addict in hell, a fire child is supporting their habit. I'm serious about that.
Mute your phone.
That the ultimate of that is that you achieve heaven and eternal life instead of the suffering the second death in hell. All right, who's the first one to move some stars tonight? Who's gonna move the first stars?
I can see a star.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the light off now. All right, you say you can see something, Cheryl, in London?
Yes, I can.
I love you. What is it, a star?
Nice bright star above my head.
You attracting that. All right, what you gonna do with that nice bright star? I see it.
Okay, let's drop down in the name of Amun. Let's drop down.
And wobble over to the left. It wobble to the left a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, moving down.
What are you gonna do with it now?
Now, move to the right. In the name of Amun, move to the right.
And it's important to let everybody know that when you get your spiritual packages, I have your sacred name in there, and every brother and sister here with me has Amun in their name. That's your hidden sacred name is Amun. So when we do things in the name of Amun, we're doing it as a collective. Everybody here is saying Amun. All right, now what we're gonna do with it now, Cheryl?
Moving a clockwise circle.
All right.
It's very bright and sparkly. And it looks like it's split as well. Moving a clockwise circle. Up and around. Moving in a clockwise circle. Okay.
Now we're gonna move it up a little bit to the right.
Okay. I was moving up.
Drop it down. Oh, you want to bring it close? Let's bring it closer for you. Thank you for the name of Abu.
Okay. It's getting brighter. Yep.
Yep. Now let's send it back out.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Next person. How about the other sister in London? And what do you see? If y'all can see stars, you can too. It's been a while since you and I moved something together. Let's do it again tonight. All right, Lucas, what do you all see out there?
Cloud cover. I don't got no star.
I'm sorry?
We got cloud cover.
All right, who else sees a star? Ark in Texas. What do you see? Ark in Texas. Ark. And if Big Power is here, please, brother, move stars with us. You know, be a part of the mission one time. Don't be silent anymore. Be a part of. Okay, you move star. Where you at? In Florida? Where you at?
Yes, I'm in Florida.
Okay, I love you, son. When you gonna move?
I want to move the whole creation for everybody.
All right.
Hey, yes.
Where you gonna move it?
And then, in the name of the Messiah, Amun-Rayay, I would like to move the whole creation to the right.
All right.
To the right. To the right.
And it's moving to the right. Let's make the whole creation go up in the name of Amun-Rayay. Go up. All creation. Go up. Going up. Go up.
Go up.
Go up.
All right.
All creation drop down. In the name of the Messiah, Amun-Rayay.
Drop down.
Alright, it's dropping now.
Yeah, I see it dropping down.
Stop. Go
I
back
love
up.
you. Go back up.
Go back up. In the name of the Messiah, Amun-Rayay. And it's expanding. It's expanding more. Stop and go clockwise circle for all the feet. Clockwise circle for everybody in the feet. In the name of the Messiah, Amun-Rayay.
I see it. I see it.
I see it too.
That's it. That's a stretch your love.
I love you. All right, sister in Michigan, what are you gonna do? I love you. Thank you. What you gonna do in Michigan for us?
All I got is cloud. I don't see nothing.
Okay.
I feel sorry.
Well, look, I want to tell you all that I love you a lot. Please stay close. And the harder you work this mission, the harder this mission is going to work for you. And the joy of waking up into the reality that you're a star child, it gives you the potential, unlimited potential to wake up other star children and lead people to heaven and thereby get there first. Donate to the mission. Get the spiritual packages. Write your testimonies and post up your posts. Amun-Rayay, teacher authority, Amun-Rayay, Asa, servant to the 144,000. And behold, I looked at Mount Zion, and there stood a lamb, and with him 144,000, with their father's name written in their foreheads. Means their third eyes were open. One love. Let's do the job and undertake to do it joyfully.